What happens next with Jimmy Butler will determine the rest of his NBA career. For years now, Jimmy Butler's name has been synonymous with the Miami Heat. In a league where there are awkward fits and superstars are constantly changing teams, Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat have both been incredibly loyal to each other. But with them being the perfect match for each other, what else would you expect? This perfect match has resulted in plenty of highs. Since Jimmy has come to Miami, you've had to take the Miami Heat seriously, no matter how mediocre that they might look. Since Jimmy has come to Miami, they've made 2 NBA Finals appearances, and were just 1 win away from a third in 2022. However, we still can't ignore this team's setbacks. They lost in the first round in 2021 and 2024, and they've been fighting for their lives the past couple of seasons just to make the playoffs. And now, to top it all off, Pat Riley and the Miami Heat are being forced to make a decision on Jimmy Butler that could change the entire future of this franchise. But first, if you want the chance to 1,000 times your money while playing daily fantasy, then look no further than Underdog. Just having to select more or less on projections, Underdog is quick and easy. And it's also a great way to have some extra fun while watching the games. To see exclusive lineups that don't make it to YouTube, be sure to follow my IG as I'll be posting tons of content and lineups there. Now guys, when you click the link in the description to sign up for Underdog, make sure to use my code COOP, because with code COOP, you can get up to $1,000 in bonus cash along with a free pick. And it's also a great way to support the channel. Thank you, Underdog, for the sponsor. Jimmy having a player option for the 2025-2026 season, with him having yet to sign an extension, puts his future with the Miami Heat completely up in the air. It was marginally surprising to see Jimmy Butler not get extended this summer, as he's been somebody that has absolutely embodied Heat culture in the past. However, the Miami Heat currently proceeding with caution when it comes to Jimmy Butler makes a lot of sense, because the Jimmy Butler that they have right now is not the same one that arrived in Miami in 2019. Jimmy Butler has been the ultimate gamer in Miami. The higher that the stakes have been, the better that Jimmy Butler has performed. But this ultimate gamer that I'm speaking of now has a whole lot of miles on their tires. In the words of Miami Heat legend Dwayne Wade, the miles are adding up. Some people decide to ride until the wheels fall off, and then there are others who like to get ahead of the game and make that swap before said tires start to cause them any problems. And this swap that I'm referencing is something that I could definitely see the Miami Heat doing in this situation. But of course, I'm not talking about the Miami Heat changing any tires. I'm talking about them trading Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is 35 years old, and he hasn't played in at least 65 games in a season since the 2016-2017 season, when he was still on the Chicago Bulls. And last year, an MCL injury caused him to miss Miami's entire first round series against the Celtics. Butler said that if he were healthy, that the Celtics and Knicks would have been at home after playing them. But as Kanye West said, I guess we'll never know. But what we do know is that Butler saying this would make Pat Riley furious. Addressing those comments from May, Pat would say, "I thought, is that Jimmy trolling, or is that Jimmy serious? If you're not on the court playing against Boston or on the court playing against the New York Knicks, you should keep your mouth shut in your criticism of those teams." And when it came to that potential extension that we've been talking so much about, Pat wouldn't hold back either, saying that it would be a big decision on our part to commit those kinds of resources unless you're somebody who's really going to be there, available every single night. This could have all just been some tough love from Pat Riley, but I did find the timing of his comments very interesting. Fast forward to the present, and I feel like it's really hard to not put any weight into those comments. 24-year-old Tyler Hero has just taken another step forward and is leading the team in scoring, averaging 24 points per game. Meanwhile, Jimmy Butler has already missed 5 games, while the Miami Heat are in the middle of the pack record-wise. So I'm sure that you guys can see where I'm going with this. Understandably, the door is open for the possibility of Jimmy leaving Miami in the near future, either on his own or as a part of a trade package. And this is something that other teams are in fact aware of. The Warriors, who wanted to trade for both Paul George and Lauri Markkanen this offseason because of their desperation to get Curry some help, have been monitoring the Jimmy Butler situation. But Golden State isn't the only team that has had their eyes on Jimmy Butler. According to reports within league circles, there's been quiet discourse about whether the Houston Rockets or Dallas Mavericks will eventually land Butler, a Texas native, should he and Miami decide to part ways. For now, however, the Rockets are among the top teams with a young core, and the Mavericks remain a contender in the tightly competitive Western Conference. It's also worth noting executives who've checked in on Butler got the impression that Miami wants to figure out their star's future after the season. In my opinion, them saying that they want to figure out Butler's situation after the season is just their way of not letting this create a distraction during this season. Now, for those teams who are interested in Jimmy, I'm not usually super high on teams adding players 34 or older that are high profile and who have had injury issues like a Paul George, but if the price was right, why not? If you're a contender and you don't have to give up the farm, I think that you should go for it. At worst, Jimmy ends up being a rental that could get you over the hump. Pat Riley is typically a shrewd businessman who admittedly doesn't like trading players, but I still think that Jimmy could be relatively cheap to acquire if Riley really is out on Butler, and given that Butler completely controls what happens with himself in the offseason. I can't lie, I kind of want to see Jimmy Butler get traded just to see the chaos that follows. You guys can't tell me that Jimmy getting traded to the Rockets wouldn't be sick. The Rockets are loaded with young talent, are currently fighting for the 1 seed in the Western Conference, and Jimmy is exactly the type of player that Udoka would love. If he's doing what he's doing in Houston with Dillon Brooks being one of the heads to his snake, then I want to see what he would do with a Jimmy Butler. I can already see some of the comments that I'm going to be getting right now, and look, I know that it may seem like Jimmy doesn't have a lot of love for Houston, but he still has a lot of love for Tomball, Texas, the city that built him. And that city is only a drive away from the Toyota Center. To be fair, it's also only a drive away from the American Airlines Center too, but that drive is a little bit longer. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. Could you guys see Jimmy Butler teaming up with Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving in Dallas? Could you guys see Jimmy Butler heading back home to the Houston area and teaming up with Jalen Green and Alperen Şengün? Or could you guys see Jimmy Butler heading to Cali and teaming up with Steph Curry and Draymond Green and showing us that these old men still got it? I really hope you guys love that meme as much as I do. Anyways guys, there's some more going on in the basketball world that I need to be covering, so clicking the video on the screen right now and using code COOP for Underdog are both great ways to support this channel. I'm GETLIKECOOP, bringing you guys the scoop until our next upload.